this inside, see if we can't get it opened up, and maybe put it, let's see what it looks like, maybe put it in the old shot cleaner. Get this thing cleaned up. The other thing is I couldn't get this to turn. Oh, there it finally goes. A little seized up, I guess. And I'm going to redo these wires for these here, and I'll probably use spade terminals. I don't know if I can do that on this one. I don't know what they did. I think this is supposed to be a bullet. And I just made it work on here. All right. There we go. A little bit of crud in there. Just a little bit. It's not too terribly bad. That's your main jet there. A little warm in here. With these plastic ones, what I like to do is I like to shake them and listen to see if there's anything in them. Sometimes they'll fill up with fuel, and when they do that, they'll just mess with the fuel so it won't fill the carb up. Actually, I'm wrong. It'll constantly cause it to fill up. So, for the most part, this looks in pretty good shape. So you have a little jet in this one, down inside there. It looks like this here. And then you have another one that goes in there, which is this one here. And then another one that goes in the large one there. That's that one there. And this one has a bunch of little holes in the bottom. And then this jet here separates from this body here. So you have to remember to take that out. Okay, so that was turned out about 4 turns. And I believe that's way too much. And it might have been why I was idling so low. I believe you only need 1.5. Alright, I'm going to leave that one in there. And we'll go ahead and take the top off. On the top is a diaphragm and a slide. Right there is your slide inside there. So you got a slide on this side, butterfly on that side, and the slide has a tapered rod on it. And on some of these carburetors, that tapered rod on the top side has notches in it, like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 notches in it, and you move an E-clip to those notches depending on how much fuel you need on, I do believe, like top end. So it'd be part of like your high idle, or your high, I mean. I'm no expert on these, so I might be wrong about some things, but I'm trying to tell you the best I know anyway. So there's your spring for the top of it. Take that out. And your little diaphragm up here. And when you lift up on it, it pulls your slide out, and then your slide has your little needle on there. And you take and push that up through. And slide that out. Now this one is non-adjustable. The other ones I was telling you about would have notches in it down here, and you pull an E-clip out of one notch and slide it into the next notch if you need a little bit more fuel. And this is tapered, you know, it's thick down here and pointy down here. So I'm thinking typically this is like 1.5 turns, and this was 4, so that made it really fat. And this was screwed in all the way, so I think they were trying to crack open the throttle to compensate for the idle being so fat, because it was turned all the way in. And that's why I couldn't turn it earlier. I thought maybe it was corroded, but it's not corroded in here. And that throttle was cracked open quite a bit in there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Maybe if I do this. See the light coming in all around there? That's cracked open quite a bit. You shouldn't need that much. So it just did right about there. It touches the throttle. So maybe you would need maybe a turn for that to crack open just a little bit. So I want to take this off of here just for putting it in here in the ultrasonic cleaner. Quite a bit of crud down there. It's been cleaning some stuff up pretty good. I think I got out everything I need to get out. It should be able to flow everywhere it needs to flow. I'm not too concerned about taking this out. Well, yeah, let's go ahead. We'll take it out. Gotta be careful though, because I believe there's like a washer and an O-ring behind this. And a spring, I do believe. So there's the spring. And there should be a small washer and an O-ring. They're way down in there. There's a little washer. And it's got to go in that order. So basically, you're going to take and load this up. So the first thing that would go onto this jet here would be the spring. And then your washer on top of that. And then an O-ring on top of the washer. And then you drop it in there and tighten it down. Or not tighten it, but adjust it down. This carb body's not in that bad of shape. I think that most of my issue was the idle being just so fat, and the throttle being cracked open all the way. Couldn't even turn it anymore. And maybe these little jets have got a little crud in them, so we're gonna put them in one of these baskets. We're gonna let them soak. This O-ring in the bowl sits proud of the body, so it's still in good shape. Can still be used. Alright, so we're going to let that do its thing. I'm probably going to do some repairs on that wiring. Alright, got the carburetor all cleaned up. It's in pretty good condition. Looks pretty decent. Blew out through all the little holes and ports and everything. And I understand why now the idle was the way it was. So this was that idle screw, and it was adjusted out 4 turns. This is that idle jet, because when I blow through there, stuff came out of here. So, and that was because this is the little jet that drops down in there and screws in, and this was actually plugged off. You guys can see through that now. Before you couldn't. So my 1.5 turns here should be good for it once we get her put back together, which I'm gonna. All right, so I took one of these picks here and I reached down into that pilot screw, and I got my O-ring out of there. So earlier I was telling you how to put this thing together. So take your idle screw, then your spring, then your little washer goes on after that, and the last thing that goes on there is your rubber O-ring. This one's still soft and pliable, so everything should be fine. Then you insert it in there and you send it home. And that spring applies pressure to it, to that rubber O-ring, keeping everything sealed off in there. And if you look in there, you can see the tip of that stuck up through there. There it is. And you just take that, you back it off, turn it a half. There's a turn. And there's my half. So that should do it when it comes to the adjustment to that. Like I said, somebody had it turned out 4 turns, which then they had to compensate with it with the that was out 4 turns. They compensated it for the this throttle cracking it open. So that was cracked open all the way as far as that adjuster could go. All right, I'll bring you back in a bit. All right, one more thing you got to pay attention to is this rubber piece, this little diaphragm. The outer rim of this diaphragm must sit down into this groove here. Sorry about that. If it doesn't sit into that groove, it sits in there like that, then you're going to have issues with it, because it's not going to allow that slide to move the way it's supposed to move. Cause it to bind and things like that. So you have to go around here and set it in the groove and work your way around it, tucking it down into that groove, just like that. And once you got it on there, now you can put your top on. Make sure your spring, center of your spring goes on to here. So it looks like somebody has bumped it at some point. If you got everything put together the way it's supposed to, this thing will operate and move that slide up and down in there like it's supposed to. If you're having issues with your slide, then you want to probably take this cap off here and double check that everything has been put in there properly. Nothing's pinched in there in a bind. All these screws and jets, you just need to snug them up good. You don't need to, kill them, because, your jets are made of brass. It won't take much to strip the top of them out. Alright, there we go. It's all back together, didn't take too long. I just got to hook up my bits and pieces when I reinstall it. And all I did for this piece here is I took a yellow spade terminal and pulled the plastic end off of it. And when you do that, you'll see a split in it. That split, you should take and shove that onto the end of this piece here, and it'll be a tight fit, but that split will open up for a nice tight snug fit. And then I just took some marine shrink tube and shrunk it over top of all of it. So that'll be a permanent fix for this. And then on the other end, where the wire hooks onto this, I just put a spade terminal on there and just plug it in. We're good to go. But this piece here is permanent to this now. All right, so hopefully this video can help you out one day. Hopefully you like the content. If so, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, send me a comment, let me know what you think. Be kind and help people when you can.